Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Real Estate Level Up podcast. Today, I'm going to be sharing some special insights with you about making decisions quickly. I find a lot of business owners, as times we are faced with a lot of decisions in a short time. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to avoid overwhelm, make decisions quickly, move along to the next decision, and how to make good decisions quickly, not just make the decisions. So, welcome. Got some very special things in store for you today. In this episode, I want to point out that business owners, entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning stages, we tend to wear a lot of hats. You're starting out, you're sometimes a solopreneur, maybe you already have a team starting to build, except you're sometimes the sales guy, you're sometimes the main call taker, you're the bookwork guy or gal, you're whatever that may be, you're filling so many roles and wearing so many hats, and there can be times of overwhelm or frankly not knowing what to do next. And I want to address that because it's the last nearly decade now that I've been buying and selling houses and ran several businesses and still do. I've noticed that the first thing that can be tempted to do when we're not sure what decision to make, or at least for me, is to avoid making that decision, which then leads to indecision and then inactivity or not getting the next step done. And so to avoid that, my objective is when I get a question come into me, or an email come into me, or a text, or a phone call, something that requires me to make a decision, it goes in one of three categories. And it depends on where you are in your business. You might just have two right now, but it's one of three for me. And hopefully, even if you're just starting out, you got at least a virtual assistant, and it's still one of three for you. Number one is if it's something that I can make a decision on right now, then make the decision now. Just make the choice, make the decision now. And if so, now the decision is made, it's done, and it's off my plate. I don't have to give another thought to it unless it's something I obviously have to follow up on, and then it goes on my calendar. For example, if I find a deal and I know that I want it, and I make a decision that I'm buying this house, the next step is what? Well, maybe the next step is to have my admin to send out the purchase agreement. So what's the next step? So make the decision, figure out the next step. Off your plate. Number two, it could be that you need more information or time. Maybe it's a decision that for whatever reason, someone just said, hey, I have this thing, I need your answer on it. And you don't yet have enough information to make the decision, or it's a massive decision of which you want to take in some more facts or give a little thought to. If that's the case, always put yourself on a timeline. As business owners, at least from my experience, what I don't do now tends to never get done. So either A, a decision's being made now, or B, I'm going to give myself a timeline. The timeline comes to me and says, hey, I need to make this decision and by X day at X time. Now it's on my calendar to make that decision by X day, X time. If there's more facts needed, I'm going to make sure I have those facts between now and then. If it's thought, I'm going to make sure I put some thought into it. Whatever that decision is, making sure that I give myself a timeline of which to bring that decision to a conclusion. I don't want to have it on my calendar for the next 6 months, moving it every week. In fact, this is a bonus point for you. Whenever it comes to making a decision in my world, if I put it on the calendar to do something or to make a decision or make a phone call, and I find that it's been moved to my calendar 3 times, for example, I was supposed to do it today at noon and I didn't, and I then had my assistant to move it to tomorrow at noon. By the time I move it the 3rd day at noon, I'm going, wait a second, why am I moving this? Am I avoiding this? Do I not have the facts? Am I subconsciously dreading this? What is going on internally that's making me continue to bump this? So give yourself a timeline of which to make the decision. Or thirdly, as you grow, and if you're not there yet, you want to be there as soon as possible, that is to have help. And many decisions are delegated. There's a lot of decisions that no longer even come to me because I make it a habit that when a decision comes to me and it's something that one of my team members can handle, that I have them to make the decision. Now, do I support them? Yes. Do I give them feedback? Yes. Or do I help them even make that decision when that's the appropriate thing that's needed, especially in the early stages? Yes. But we're raising up leaders. We're raising up other leaders in the community that we build. My partner Leo and I have this community of leaders and business owners, and we raise up leaders. That's podcast is meant for business owners and leaders. My team is I'm raising up a team of leaders and the people who work with me. They lead each in their category. And so empowering people to make decisions and fulfill their roles in the company to grow themselves, to grow the revenue, and to grow the company is a great way to give them the massive growth opportunities they needed to be able to step into their power. I have a lot of amazing and smart people surrounding me, and I'm very grateful for it because I'm always encouraging them to step into their power. It doesn't bother me if somebody's smarter than me. I'm just grateful to be the person that encourages them to step into their power. So to make decisions quickly means to go in one of them 3 baskets for me. And then the follow-up happens. Everything should be automated. Your follow-up should happen. If you and I are talking, I'm talking to someone at an event, and that person says, hey, I signed up for your course and whatever it may be. I signed up for your course and I didn't see the bonuses in this segment and they were supposed to be in X segment. Well, immediately I let them know where to email customer service. And secondly, just for above and beyond service, I almost inevitably will grab my phone, text my assistant right there and say, please email so-and-so bonuses X. Boom. And I'll say, what's your email? Type it in for me. Now it's done. Now the follow-up is completed. Now the decision is made. The things have been fulfilled. And even though it probably was in the downloadable place, that maybe they was having trouble finding it, or maybe it glitched, or maybe there was a challenge. Who knows what happened, but it's handled. Perhaps I talk to someone and they say, I want to have you on my podcast next week. I say, okay, cool. What time is it? So immediately, either they're going to be sending me an invite, or in that moment, I typically text my assistant, make sure it's on my calendar, put me down to be on so-and-so's podcast X day at X time. Make decisions quickly. Don't second guess yourself. Whenever you've made a decision, don't keep going back and revisiting it and asking yourself, did I make the right decision? Sometimes as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we're faced with hundreds of decisions every single day. And we're not always going to make the right one. We're going to make the best one we could with the knowledge we had in the moment we made it. And it's not always going to be the right one. Be okay with that. Move on. It's very important. In fact, in my world, there's been a lot of poor decisions I've made over the years in business that if I had to do over, I would have done differently. Except I've made a lot of good decisions. Make good decisions as good as you can, as quick as you can. It's better to have decisions quickly than every one of them be right, but there'll be a whole stack of things that slows down your business and totally bottlenecks what you're trying to build. You know, if I had to do over when I bought 50 houses in a year at 22, probably a couple of those deals were not the best deals. I probably would have skipped a couple of them now, except I bought dozens and dozens and dozens that were great, some of which still pay me today. So it doesn't matter that we always make the right decisions, although we do want to. It's just make sure you make the decisions quickly. Get to the conclusion as fast as possible. Give your team the ability to do the same, and it will serve you well. It will help avoid overwhelm, because overwhelm happens when decisions aren't made and they begin to stack up on us. And we're like, crap, we got all this stuff all of a sudden we've got to make decisions on. Make decisions quickly. Get help early. Get a virtual assistant. I've heard people say they couldn't afford one, and I always respond to that with, I can't afford not to have one, because the things that we are able to gain their help with, let them walk in their superpower and do what they do best while I do what I do best, everybody wins. Make decisions quickly. It'll make you a better business owner and better in every area of your life. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode. And also, please give me a high review, a thumbs up, a 5-star review. It helps with the algorithms and keeps us producing this amazing podcast for you guys. Thanks so much.